Hi everyone, welcome to the Knacklers workshop. Yeah, don't normally appear on screen, but as I do on the other channel, I thought I might as well here from time to time. So I've got a crib list, cup of coffee, all the normal things. So this is Hotchpotch 17, I think it is. So I just thought I'd talk you through a few things. So this is the first video I've sort of made, sort of live. It's a Monday tea time now. I'm filming this now, edit it tomorrow and put it out live on Wednesday. So fairly real time. As normal in these Hotchpotches, there's a good opportunity to say thank you to everyone for subscribing on here and also Instagram, and also everyone who's come across to the other channel as well. So that's, I'm very grateful, so thank you for that. Also, the Knacklers workshop's passed 200,000 views, which I'm amazed really, when we consider I've got less than 2,000 subscribers. That's, I'm just quite amazed by that. So again, thank you to everyone watching for that. So another thing I wanted to say was, my good friend Matty over at Matty's Workshops, quite poorly, and just wish him well, and hopefully everyone else will send him good wishes. I hope he has a speedy recovery. We'll all be thinking about you, Matty, and rooting for you. Okay, so what else? Because I got the crib sheet, so this is a Hotchpotch, which is normally bits of everything, but actually I didn't really buy much whilst I was away for a few months, having my hip replaced. And I also had an operation on my stomach, is the same, or a little while after my hip. So I'm sort of on light duties for the next month or two. So it's trying to think of things to do in here where I don't have to pick anything up too heavily. So I've also just sort of looked around the place and thought about some things that I haven't shown you that I've purchased over the time, and just forgot to include it in previous Hotchpotches. So anyway, let's have a look at one of the. Let's move my cup, and I'll pick you up and then start showing you the bits and bobs that I've got. Yeah, okay. Right, so here we've got a it's a slitting saw attachment for the 𝗫𝗡𝗅. So sorry, that bit bolts onto the cross slide. Got over here. Got the bolts there for that. That slots into there. Let's move back, and you've got, so effectively, and then you've got the slit there. Now what actually happens is you have a dead centre in your spindle of your, well, believe me, there's a dead centre in there. In the Morse 2 hole of your spindle on your 𝗫𝗡𝗅, you then put one of these face plates on. I can't remember what it's got, a proper technical name, I forgot what it is. I've got a bolt in here rather than the original thing. So that screws onto the spindle, your main spindle. And what you do is you have an arbor that runs, so you have a live centre in your tailstock, and you have an arbor which you put a saw blade on, and it goes through the centre here, and that's what gives you the slitting sort of or the sawing process. Now you can move this up and down, so you've got so then you can vary how much of the blade sticks out. And on here, so you've got so you can have a slide I don't know what it's technically called, but a rest I suppose it is, and then there's another bit that you can bolt on here. Now all I've basically got are these bits that I've shown you. So one of my projects is to make missing bits. So if we look at here, when we look in there, let's see if we can get in there, you can see the hole, and that's the hole from there. So that's basically just that goes through there. It's got the bit cut out, and then that, when you tighten up on that, that clamps that part onto it. So we need to make one of those. We need to make the other. Now what I was going to do with this project is I sort of have a method I use to plan projects like this, because a lot of the time I do buy sort of missing bit or parts of an accessory and then try and make the missing parts. And so what I'll do is I will make a video that shows you the logic I apply for this, because I think it might be interesting, because I paid about 40 quid for this, £40, yeah, whatever that is in other currency, I'm sure you can work it out. But normally the whole shebang go for at least 200. So in my case, if I can make some of the parts, so I found a bit of material which would be just fine to make that, so we can do that. But anyway, I'll show you, you know, I tend to do it like this because I don't have a big budget for in here, and it gets me through it. So we'll do that. We'll do the video on the planning process, and then a later date, and we'll do something on making those bits, and I'll talk about that a bit later. So that's one of the things that came in. I've been wanting one of these forever. So this is a vise, made in Sweden. Let's see if I can get there. Now, what's so gorgeous, well, gorgeous in my mind, so we're unscrewing it. But what you can do is these bits move and these move, and you can even just keep them all parallel, and then this, when we move that back, so you can effectively create a set of parallels to put your part on. But you can hold weird shaped parts depending on how you move all this. So now this is these are normally super expensive and sort of blew the budget, really. It would blow the budget, you know. And then you just tighten these up to tighten those positions. Yeah, so very pleased to get it. It's bordering on being too big for my the door westbury, but it does fit on there. So what my plan really with this one is, I'll strip it down and clean it all up, and I'll make a video on that so we can see how it works, you know, how all this stuff, because this is all the clamping stuff, how it all works. And then what I may try and do is sell it, because it should be a lot nicer scrubbed up, and then try and get a smaller one. So that's my plan, but nevertheless it is still useful, but I'm hoping that the keen price I got of that and with a bit of elbow grease, I should be able to get a slightly smaller one. So super pleased with that. Again, when I've just been tinkering, don't know whether you remember this thing I showed you. I might have shown you this. This is, so you plug one end into the mains power, and then when you're trying an electrical thing, if you don't have a plug on it, you can just push these up and put your wires in. But when it's like that, even if it's plugged in, the fuse it's broken the fuse, so you can't electrocute yourself, and then you put it down. So I've actually got around to wiring it up, and because when I bought it a while ago there was just that. So that was a top tip for Ian Matthews. So yeah, I've used it already on the mini compressor. These I've had in here for goodness knows how long, and I really don't think I've ever shown you these. So that's some 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 taps. There's a few missing there, and actually, again, I would say to anyone, if you see a set of these at a cheapish price, even if there are a few missing, it's worth picking up, because these have saved me a couple of times on a job. So they're pretty good, and if I ever needed one of the size I don't have, I could just buy the single tap or die, you know. So that's good. So that's 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏, and these 𝗏𝗡𝗏. So again, not a complete set, but it was just, it just gets me. They're sort of a bit of a, I wouldn't go and spend a load of money on one, but I think they're pretty useful. So what we've looked at that, let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a walk over. So on the, we've got all the sides in and all this stuff on the 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏 Star, so that's good. But what I've decided to do, and I'm just doing that, is down on, see that box there, where you keep having to move it every time you want to pull the thing out. So I've measured it up and cut it all, and I'm going to put a shelf on there, and then that box can sit on top. So that's one of the sort of work in progress. That's just drying, that's had a coat of paint. Now Alan over at 𝗏𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗏, he's had one of these retort stands, and he features in quite a lot of his videos, and it just always seems such a good idea, because you know, it's what you find in a, you know, in a lab. I haven't got any test tubes, but I've got this. And but what I actually did was I managed to pick these up, and there's another couple of these clamps I've got. But this is, I've put it on an old Moore and Wright surface plate. I don't know what you call it. I've lost the plot now. Anyway, so I fit it on there. So it's a bit of recycling, because to be honest, this is too big for the stuff I use. So it actually works out quite well, and I didn't end up having to buy the actual stand. I just bought the clamps. So really pleased. This has been in there for a long time. I've just not. It's one of the things I forgot. Over here, oh, let me move around. So these are all, that's my hand scraper and various bits of roller in there and stuff, you know, for a bit of scraping. So I bought this a little while ago, and I'm pretty certain I haven't shown you. So it's a small small cast iron surface plate. So this is what I'm going to have a go at hand scraping. It doesn't really, you know, anything. Well, no, even if I mess it up, it didn't cost much and everything, so that's good. So I've got my granite surface plate there. So what I'm actually going to do, sort of, because there's a faint chance I might make it better, I want to make a box and everything and a cover and stuff for this before I actually start the work. So sort of having the ending, I don't want it just kicking around, me spend a load of hours getting this nice and spend it just end up with stuff piled on it and undoing everything. So so I'm pretty much, I think I've got everything. I was watching Greg over at My Little Mule, and he's done some scraping. He had a nice video on that recently. But instead of using the roller, he used the chap who was showing him, it was sort of like a wedge with some leather on, and that's how they were applying the blue to the granite one for their marking. So that's now, I think I've got pretty much everything I need now, so that's good. And now I'm a bit more comfortable standing up. We'll do a bit more with that. So here's my good old IME watchmaker's lathe, and as you can see, this one only has 1 foot. But if you watch the IME 300 video, you saw this. And now when I bought this, I bought 2 of these, which have the 2 of these, but there was only ever 1 foot. Now I managed to pick up another one on eBay, a proper genuine IME. Now what I've got here is I'd bought a lump of steel to be able to make these. So I've done all the calculations, I've worked out all the what threads these have got and everything. So there's enough material to make some more of these. So I've managed to get this bit of wood. This is off from the guys downstairs. This is from a really expensive kitchen worktop counter, and they come up amazing. So I've had that hidden away. So the goal is to make, oh yeah, and I've also got, sorry, this, so it's not an IME one, but what I hope to do is make another foot, make the bit that goes down to the foot, and then that can go there, and then we start to, you know, assemble this one up and try and start to make a working lathe out of all this. And I need to make 2 of these, so I need a foot for there and at least another 2 for the other one of these that I have. So that's on the agenda. What else have we got? Okay, one of the other things, again, Alan at Retro Steam Tech, he put me on to, he changed the motor in his Sherline milling machine, and it looked pretty good, so I managed to pick up, he was kind enough to give us the link, so I've got this one, and it's got all the wiring and the transformer in this stuff, so it all came together. Now I bought this for one of the 𝗪𝗡𝗄s that I've got that doesn't have a motor, but then I suddenly thought when it arrived that actually what I could do is get it out of here, because I don't have a motor for here, maybe that could become a candidate for this drill. Now I've been doing some thinking, and I thought, well actually, because I'm never going to use them both, it's only me here, never going to use them both at a time, maybe I could make a bit that fits on here that slips off, so I could take that off and actually share the motor with this one, so with the sensitive drilling machine. And then what that would do, it would free this motor up, which, because I don't have a motor for the little Adept shaper, so I'm going to do some experimenting with that and see whether that's feasible. Yeah, so that's really one of the things. What else have I been doing? I've got this the little compressor going, so I managed to put a plug on and I've tested it, and air's coming out of everywhere. It's 1/8 BSP, so I need to buy an air line and a gun. I've got a gun here somewhere, but I haven't got a clue where it is. But I have located one on Amazon, so I just need to pull the trigger and buy that. So the reason I want that is, if you watch the workshop tour, what I'm planning on doing is having the air compressor, and if you look down at the back of the Myford, there's down here, where's my finger? Here is the coolant tank. Now I'm going to put them on the trolley, the compressor and the cooling tank, and then I can wheel it to whichever machine I've got. So that way I don't have to have I don't have to pipe air around the workshop. I can just wheel the trolley to wherever I need the air. It could just be sitting here at the bench and the trolley sits there. And likewise, the coolant can be used on the door Westbury over on the 𝐒𝐿𝐄. So I'm starting to get a little bit of traction on getting that baby going. Okay, so let's have a look, see if there's things I've missed. No. So moving forward, to be honest, the world's it's slightly different because I've been given the gift of movement back, and I want to get out and about and enjoy it. So I'm going to do things slightly different or I'm thinking about doing things slightly different. So we know I'm going to do, I said to you guys I'm going to do a series on the 𝗔𝗓𝗡𝗏 Classic. So I will just make all the videos for that and then just release them, so we've got that complete series, not have things like I've been guilty in the past of leaving things for months or years to get done. So I'm going to do that, and then the Hotchpotches are really just to talk about what news appeared in the workshop. But also I think, because I do lots of stuff which I don't always think are worthy, they're just little repairs. I think what I'm going to do, I don't know why I'm not turning this back, hang on, let me turn you around. Yeah, if I'm going to be on the screen I might as well be on the screen, don't I? Yeah, so lots of little jobs I do which don't really fit into a general project. So I thought I would just do, not in the same league as 𝗪𝗢𝗪𝗓𝗪 Customs, but he just does a vlog, and he just does lots of different bits and glues them together, and he talks about what he's done in his week. So really it's more about things that I'm doing rather than just talking, you know. It's not an update video or that sort of stuff. So I think I'm going to start to do those. So I just film the individual parts and then glue them together, and a bit like Dave M does, you know, he sits at the beginning of his videos and talks about, introduces it, and then you get on and see the stuff. So if I'm making, you know, the part for this bit, then we just film that, and then maybe there'll be a summary one all about the summary video all about the slitting table for the Myford at a later date. But yeah, so I'm just going to try and do things a bit different like that. So looking at my crib list, so the other things are, as we've seen, we've got the long bed IME, so we got that project to get on with. We've got the movable trolley cart, so we got that one to get on with. And the other thing is, so the only real exception on trying to complete projects before I release a series of videos will be the Congreve clock, because it could take me 2 or 3 years to do it. So, but I'm keen to start that. So the two things I want to do before I get going, and again it's limited by being on light duty, so to speak. I need to get that base in the 𝐒𝐄𝐑𝗥 star, so that bit's sorted, and haven't yet changed the belts on the Myford for the tri-lever part, and so basically the lathe's no good at the moment, so I will do that, and then I can just start turning. But probably I can turn the parts up that need turning or milling for the adept shaper, but I'm not sure lifting that thing around at the moment. It's a bit too heavy, so I'll do a bit, and hopefully you'll see that in that vlog or whatever I call it. And then when I've managed to be strong enough to lift it and actually reassemble it, I can then do an update video on that. Okay, so I think that's about it. I've rambled on too long. So as always, stay happy, strong and healthy, and don't forget to send your best wishes to Matty. Alright, and thanks for watching. Take care. Cheerio.